Nope. A friend. The song. Excuse me. Okay. Pocket. In May the 1969th year, Venus 5 and Venus 6 automated interplanetary stations reached the planet Venus and conducted direct measurements of atmospheric pressure and temperature in different parts of the planet who are about 20 kilometers high. Atmospheric pressure on the surface of the planet Venus was found to be in the range of 7,120 atmospheres and a temperature of 783 degrees Kelvin. Knowledge of these parameters has made it possible to create machines capable of passing through the atmosphere of the planet Venus and transmitting information from its surface. It was a complex engineering task. Develop a high-temperature and high-pressure launch vehicle. Make a soft landing on the planet's surface and transmit scientific information. In May of the 1969th year, the Litecoin plant began to establish the station until 70. In order to protect the equipment against high temperatures and pressures, a strong, leak-proof shell with high thermal insulation has been constructed. A number of problems have been solved in the construction of the plant's aggregates and systems operating under the direct influence of the planet's atmosphere. The hull of the launch vehicle is in the form of a titanium alloy sphere. This 1/6, which at 500 degrees Celsius retains the required mechanical properties. High external pressure required the construction of a shell with the least variation in sphere. The welding structure of the shell was unacceptable because of inevitable wiring, and the hull was performed by mechanical processing of two rigid requirements for a parachute system. The samples of firmware-assistant tissue selected for its manufacture have been subjected to extensive testing. Most of the materials failed the test conditions and collapsed. Only a sample of glass, neutrons, and fabric maintained a strength of approximately 8 of the reference. Well, the airtightness was becoming unacceptably large. After a hard search, a solution was found. 4 layers of glass, intact tissue, ensured the permissible airtightness of the parachute dome. And the necessary mechanical properties of the tissue at high temperatures. It's the result of tension. And for the first time, a multi-layered dome parachute made of firmware-assistant tissue was designed. The ground tests confirmed the accuracy of the selected parachute pattern. Aeroplane tests were conducted to verify the operation of the parachute system and the mechanisms of the launch vehicle. The aircraft was abandoned by a Tu-22 aircraft at supersonic speeds at 10 meters. Because of the significant differences in Earth's atmospheric pressure on the normal parachute system, it will occur at a speed of about 70 meters per second instead of an estimated 10 meters, leading to the death of a special one to ensure the necessary speed of landing of the instrument container. An additional parachute system will be installed on the model of the launch vehicle. For the antenna of the descending machine, it was necessary to create a thermally resistant and high-frequency cable. The most thermally resistant cables at a temperature of 400 degrees. Newly developed cables with quartz cells maintained the required parameters. Due to significant changes in the design of the facility, a complete design was performed, a set of ground tests. Prepare the station for flight. We're done. Hot. August 1970th. Hot. Task message. On August 17th at 8 p.m., the Soviet Union launched an automatic interplanetary station, Venus-7. During the 4 months of Venus flight, 7 regularly transferred to Earth the necessary information. On December 15th, the 1970th, the launch vehicle entered the atmosphere of the planet Venus. Started with the transmission of information. But what is it? The information cannot be deciphered, there is no specified sequence of packages. The nature of the Doppler frequency measurement is different from that of the calculation. What happened to the landing machine? What's the miscalculation? A thorough and careful analysis showed that telemetric switches were disabled on the landing machine. Only one parameter of the planet's atmosphere was released. By the nature of the changes, the Doppler frequency of the signal was able to determine that the parachute system was not normal at the end of the descent. The computer machine was used to handle the very weak signals received by the experimental equipment following the landing of the launch vehicle on the planet's surface. The launch vehicle was found to have operated after an impact on the planet's surface for 23 minutes. For temperature changes, it was possible to calculate the pressure change in height and to set the pressure on the planet's surface at 90 ± 15 per square centimeter. Temperature 700 ± 20, but the planet Venus is still full of secrets to be discovered by the next automatic stations. Another Venus 8. It must explore for the first time the day-to-day side of the planet Venus. And Venus 8 on the way down will tell the lead designer Vasily Vasiljevic-Romanov. As a result of the flight of the Venus station, 8 major changes were made to the entire structure of the Venus station. This is the main one of the telemetric hardware and the software's metallic step engines, replacing the electronic, more reliable. Large overloading. It's leaking into Venus's atmosphere at the entrance of the launch machine. In order to ensure the day-to-day transmission of information from the surface of Venus, an additional dropout antenna has been introduced. The main antenna is designed from spherical to commercial. And the logic of the landing machine on the surface of Venus is designed to provide telemetric information. 4 of the front lines duplicated both content well from the network. Re-established scientific instruments and both 72 to measure the illumination of the Venus atmosphere and all 2 to record the presence of ammonia. Based on the flight results of Venus Station, 7 jobs are for parachute design. In order to provide a center for the lowering machine, reduce its weight and increase its reliability, the parachute system. The location of the 10 pushers has been changed to a long powder charge. The thickness of the thermal wall of the shell is reduced. Heat batteries have been installed to reduce the temperature increase in the instrument compartment on descent after landing. Beryllium, aluminum and barrels, these 3 liters of core there are nitrogen acid lids. All of these changes have led to a significant transformation of the landing machine and the complete volume of ground tests. The husband, the skilled hands of the workers, translates into metal the thoughts of designers and scientists. And finally, the hard work of many teams to create Venus Station is 8. Completed. What the new messenger will tell us. On July 27, 972nd year, Venus 8 entered the atmosphere of the planet Venus. Landing completed. 50 minutes passed on information from the surface of the planet. The scientists of the Soviet Union have received unique material. The results of Venus Station 8. The FT tells us the program of scientific experiments at Venus Station will succeed 8 times. Direct measurements have been made of the temperature and pressure of the atmosphere on the surface of the planet on the illuminated side. The results of these measurements are shown on this poster together with measurements of height above the surface. The resulting temperature of 470 degrees Celsius is a pressure of 95 atmospheres, which is very good with the previously defined values of these parameters. As a result of Venus flight, there are no significant daily changes in temperature and pressure at the surface. The fundamental conclusion of the ideological state of the atmospheric gas up to the surface has been confirmed. The presence of ammonia in the atmosphere at 2 levels in the atmosphere at pressures of 2 and 10 atmospheres has been determined. Its content is estimated at between 100 and 1/10%. Of great interest is the high-altitude wind velocity profile derived from the measurement of the Doppler shift of the onboard radio transmitter frequency. Within the first 10 and 12 kilometers, the wind speed is very close to 0 volts, and then rapidly increases to about 68 meters per second. Near 50 miles, an area between 20 and 40 kilometers is curious, with a small gradient of wind velocity. These are unique data on the light in the atmosphere and on the surface of Venus. These measurements have a fundamental value in understanding Venus physics, particularly its thermal mode. The results of the measurements show that sunlight is diluting in the atmosphere in an uneven manner, the most visible being about 35 kilometers high and possibly extending below the level of the Venezuelan clouds.
The nature of the weakening can be explained by the King's molecular dispersion of the surface to about 1% of the sun's falling on
Venus. However, the surface is bright enough, with an illumination of about 200 and 300 lux. The measurements of the spectrum and intensity of gamma are the radiation of the radioactive elements that form the surface formation of Venus. These measurements have led to the conclusion, in principle, that the nature of the species on Venus is close to the results of the measurements with the help of Venus 8. Of great scientific significance. They make it possible to significantly expand our understanding of the nature of this planet and, at the same time, to plan a program of further research. Venus 4 automatic interplanetary stations. Venus 5 and 6. Venus 7. Venus 8. A major phase of research on the planet has been completed. There are new challenges ahead. New spacecraft.